We're aiming to give you something, well, really practical, a sort of mental toolkit, a way you can quickly assess the culture, the uh, the underlying health, really, of any organization you walk into.
And you could do it just by paying attention to the language people are using, right?
Exactly. We've boiled it down from our source material to this really actionable idea. Leadership rule, #113.
I love this one.
It's simple, but it's got real depth. Build oceans, not swamps.
Right. And that contrast hits you immediately. Ocean, swamp, very different images.
Totally different. The source material isn't just suggesting, slightly different management styles. It's setting up two fundamentally distinct environments.
Like different operating systems for the organization.
Yeah, exactly. So we really need to unpack what makes an ocean different from a swamp, not just like visually, but how they function.
Structurally. And what's really interesting is how the source defines them. It's not just about water, it's about flow. That's the key. So the ocean, naturally, it's defined by its vastness, its openness, its depth, and how everything's interconnected.
Right, like a global system.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You've got these powerful currents, tides. It responds to big forces.
Yeah.
But for leaders, the critical bit, the source highlights, is the clarity, the transparency of the ocean.
Huh.
That clarity, that's what makes navigation possible.
Yeah.
You can see what's coming, chart your course. You trust the visibility you have.
Okay, but hearing openness and clarity makes me immediately think of the opposite, the swamp. That feels like the perfect contrast.
It really is.
The swamp is, well, it's defined by isolation, right? Limited connection between parts. And that mix. Sometimes it's fresh water, sometimes it's stagnant. It's just murky.
Murky is the word.
And that murkiness, that lack of transparency, that's the real barrier, isn't it? If the ocean is built for seeing clearly.
Then the swamp demands something else entirely.
Yeah, it demands like resilience. Careful steps, you're feeling your way through almost.
You are. You have to be resilient just to operate in it day to day. So thinking about the people in the organization as the species,
Right.
the environment dictates how they have to behave, the language they use, just to, well, survive.
So in the ocean, you're using the currents, working with the flow.
Yeah.
In the swamp?
You're just trying not to get stuck in the mud,
Yeah.
basically, yeah. Surviving the stagnation.
Okay, let's stick with the ocean for a minute. If leaders manage to create that openness, that depth, that connection, what does the organization actually get out of it? What are the benefits?
The source points to three big things: collaboration,
Okay.
adaptability, and innovation. That's the trifecta they talk about.
Everyone wants that, obviously. But why does the ocean environment produce that? What's the mechanism?
Well, the why comes down to a mix of psychological safety and structural efficiency. Because it's open and transparent, it fosters trust.
Right.
Communication flows more freely. And that depth aspect is important too. Information isn't just superficial, it goes deep. The source really emphasizes that.
So trust and open communication.
Exactly. And think about what that means for making decisions or solving problems. In a real ocean setup, when something complex comes up,
Like a crisis.
yeah, or just a tricky problem, the currents, metaphorically speaking, bring the necessary information to the surface fast. There are clear channels for info to flow.
Like deep water channels, yeah.
Right. So the result, organizationally, is you spend maybe, say, 80% of your time actually solving the problem.
And only 20% just trying to figure out what's going on.
Exactly. Because the information is already flowing. It's accessible.
That clicks. We've all been in the opposite situation, right? Where you spend almost all your energy just hunting down the right data or the right person.
Feels like wading through mud.
Totally. Or navigating in thick fog. But okay, here's where it gets nuanced. The source material doesn't just say swamp bad. It actually points out something, maybe a positive side effect.
It does, and we need to be careful with this one. A swamp environment, because it is disconnected and conditions shift.
That fresh and stagnant water mix.
Right. It can push people towards autonomy. It can build serious personal resilience.
Because you have to be resilient.
Yeah, if you're fighting through the murk alone every day, you get tough. You learn to adapt quickly because you can't rely on the system, on the network for support.
I see the danger there.
It's a huge leadership trap. A leader in that swamp might see all this individual resilience and think, wow, strong culture.
When really it's just a coping mechanism.
Exactly. It's
Dang.
people surviving despite the system, not because of it. And you have to ask, is that forced resilience really a benefit if the structure itself is the source of the instability and the lack of trust?
That's the crucial counterpoint. Okay, it might make individuals tough in the short run, but the big risks, The source flags are stagnation and toxicity. The whole system gets sluggish, clogged up, even if individuals are paddling furiously just to keep their heads above water.
The effort is immense.
So, looking at the examples, the ocean is designed for clear navigation, for flow, for moving forward together. The swamp, it demands this exhausting individual adaptation because leadership has let things get opaque.
They mistake that lack of central direction for genuine empowerment or autonomy, maybe.
Right. It's not the same thing at all.
Okay, let's bring this back to the most practical part for you, the listener. That diagnostic tool, the language.
Yes. If the environment shapes behavior?
It absolutely shapes the language. And that language is like a signal flare for the health of the place.
Okay, so what do we listen for in an ocean organization?
You're listening for words that reinforce clarity, accountability, depth. Things like, what data supports that decision?
Okay, transparency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or, let's bring in the right odors on this now. That shows interconnection, clear roles.
Makes sense.
And maybe most importantly, tell us about the unexpected challenges you hit.
Because mistakes aren't fatal.
Right. They're navigational data, information, not something to hide. That signals deep trust.
Mistakes as data points. Love that. Okay, now flip it. What's the language of the swamp? What tells you you're wading, not swimming?
This is the language of stagnation, opacity, isolation.
Yeah, the source is pretty clear on this.
Listen for phrases that basically build walls. If you hear, that's kind of above my pay grade, or just push it up the chain.
Red flags.
Immediate red flags. It means information isn't flowing freely or deeply. It's just moving vertically, maybe.
Yeah.
And people are limiting their risks.
Avoiding the murkiness.
And even more subtle, maybe, is the language of stagnation itself. Watch out for that passive resistance that sounds like wisdom.
Like what?
Like, oh, we tried that years ago, didn't work.
Yeah.
Kills innovation instantly.
Ugh, yeah. The innovation killer.
Or the classic, let's not rock the boat. That directly reinforces staying put in the stagnant water, right? Not using any potential current to move.
Survival means staying still.
Exactly. And another huge swamp signal, fuzzy responsibility. When you hear, well, they decided that, not me, or look, I just did what I was told.
Passing the buck.
Yeah. You're in a place where people are shielding themselves from consequences, not collaborating openly to find solutions. The flow is definitely broken there.
Wow. That's incredibly powerful. Just listening for what's the data versus don't rock the boat gives you such an immediate read.
It really does. Is trust central, or is individual survival the main game?
Okay, let's make this really practical. Say you realize you are in a swamp. How does a leader even start digging channels? How do you create a current?
Well, the first step has to be tackling the opacity. You can't create depth overnight, maybe, but you can demand clarity.
Okay, how?
Things like cutting out jargon that just confuses people or hides meaning. Mandating that the reasons behind decisions are documented and shared, even if the decision ends up being wrong later.
Own the rationale.
Yes. An ocean lets the sunlight penetrate deep down, right? It's inherently transparent. A swamp, it's murky, sometimes deliberately so.
So start by letting the light in.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, this choice between ocean and swamp leadership, it's foundational. Are you actively building transparency, trust, clear channels?
Or are you just demanding resilience while letting things stay opaque and stagnant?
That's the core choice.
Yeah.
And the benefit of knowing this, for you listening, is it gives you that instant diagnostic.
It's like an X-ray into the organization's structure, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are they building for flow, or are they just asking you, the individual, to constantly overcome the system's own flaws? The language tells you right away.
It really does.
So we started this deep dive with that rule, #113. Build oceans, not swamps. And if the currents and tides define ocean leadership, that flow, that movement, here's a final thought for you to take away. Think about a big challenge or maybe a change happening in your own environment right now. What specific tide or pressure is demanding the absolute most resilience from you or your team?
Okay.
And then ask, what one piece of language, what phrase, if you could change it tomorrow, could start replacing some of that demanded resilience with genuine systemic clarity?
Ooh, that's a good one. Swapping resilience speak for clarity speak.
That's your homework. Find that phrase.
All right.
We have explored the depths of our source material for today. Thanks for diving deep with us.